Hello Ratbags, it's Jade Games back again with another top 5 of Ark Survival Evolved. Today we're taking a look at the top 5 times Ark Survival Evolved made you happy. Now, FYI, I don't want any negativity in the comments, keep that shizzle. We've done that, I've done the top 5 times Ark pissed you off. But this is about all the times the game that you love, the game you've put hundreds and hundreds, thousands of hours into, made you happy, gave you hype, gave you hope, made you change your outlook on a game. And believe it or not, there's a lot more positives than you think. Ark still does have a very vocal fan base that are unhappy with the game. I have myself been included in that, as many times I've given some stick. But I've also appreciated all the good things they've done as well. So stop being a sourpuss, don't be writing any crap. Come out with your favourite moments, your best moments, your funny moments, the times that Ark really made you happy. Put that in the comment section for me. Let's see if we can get Jade up for the release of Aberration and for the future of Ark Survival Evolved. With positive, constructive feedback, you can make a difference. Wildcard have shown they're willing to listen to the community and implement many things. So let's get behind the game. Let's focus on the good stuff, the positive stuff, as we look forward to brand new DLC and another year of Ark Survival Evolved. So kicking off the top 5, we have rentable servers. Rentable servers, are you sure, Jade? Yes. There is no doubt about it. Ark have actually changed the landscape of what early access games and in games in general can do. What other games company has released rentable servers for console? Other than Battlefield, I can't think of a single game that has managed to achieve that. We're talking about an independent studio with barely 40 people working for them that have made a game come out on 3 different platforms in the space of 2 years, yet they've got the vision, the scope to make it happen and release rentable servers for their massively online presence. This is in fact something groundbreaking. No other AAA publishers have managed to do it, like I said, other than Battlefield. I think that's warranted enough to give it real props, and it did make players super happy. Now, it did make them happy for a reason, because lots of players don't like official servers. There's no denying that official servers need more love, they need more optimization, and they need some really big decisions to change the landscape of Ark Online to ensure people still play the official servers. But we were given a choice, and when a games developer gives you a choice, there's nothing you can do but be happy. It started off with Nitrado, and now there's lots of providers that can give you servers across some of the platforms. It is just still one of the best things. I couldn't wait to get hold of my own server where I could have more than 8 people play on it. I've tried in the past with separate Xboxes, and even that was revolutionary at the time, that you could use a second Xbox or a second PS4 for a server. Again, no one else had ever done anything like that. Inherently, it did have its problems, and rentable servers are now 10 times more reliable than having a second Xbox or a second PS4. The communities you can create, the communities you can foster are some of the best that you can find out there. Ark players can be some of the most dedicated, and harnessing that on an actual server that you control or you own, or that you've made it a community server where people make decisions about how the servers run. I find that phenomenal in a game. I really value that kind of interaction with players and developers and a game. Now, the cynical amongst us might say it's just their way to lower some costs and make sure that everyone else has to pay for the servers, but at the end of the day, anything that gives you choice and freedom to do what you want with your game, I think that's absolute gold dust. So that is why it's my number 5 top 5 times it made us happy. Number 4 is DLC. I know it can be a dirty word in some sections, but let's face it, when the absolute trailers came for Scorched Earth and Aberration, you guys wet your pants at the thought of playing on these brand new maps with these brand new creatures. That's why it's number 4 on my top 5. Released back in 2016 September, Scorched Earth launched to critical acclaim. So many people were so excited about the prospect of not just a brand new map, but brand new creatures, and seeing how the implementation of DLC would be in the future. Wildcard had made it known they planned to make lots of DLC for the game. They'd been planned to implement it in lots of different ways, and this was the first way. Now, it was paid, and that's what makes it a little bit more controversial, and the fact that it was released during early access. Many players couldn't cope with the fact that the game was still buggy, unoptimized, not finished, had half the content, yet here we had this almost completed version of DLC. There is a reason for that, but that will be saved better for my top 5 controversial moments that Ark Survival Evolved have actually faced. let's just focus on the gameplay. Let's just focus on that trailer. When that trailer launched, I don't know anyone that didn't immediately go, oh my god, I'm buying it, I'm getting it. It obviously, specifically for PC players, they've been playing the game for a year during lots of buggy issues and had the game being updated monthly, but this was the real first time they'd get a chance to play something massive and big in one go that wasn't just a fan-made mod. For Xbox fans, it was even like the icing on top of the cake. We'd only had the game 7 or 8 months and already we were getting this brand new DLC to keep it all fresh. Obviously it came out for the PS4 when it launched in December as well, and that kept them even filled because it had even more content for people to choose from. When it launched on PS4 you could choose the island, you could choose the centre, or you could choose to play Scorched Earth if you went and purchased it. There's no doubt about it, Scorched Earth particularly, the wyverns appearing, the rock elementals, the just sheer size of the boss at the end was crazy. So many new features, so many new items, it was filled with possibilities. Now, I do confess, I got bored of Scorched Earth very quickly. After about 3 weeks of playing it, I was done. I don't ever want to return to Scorched Earth. They did say they would keep it up to date with content, and I hope they do start implementing more. Coming up in the future, they are going to be adding a story or an Ascension style ending to Scorched Earth, as well as adding unlockable tech engrams like the Wyvern tech saddle. So the future for Scorched Earth is rosy, but that wasn't the only DLC Ark Survival Evolved have launched. Of course, Aberration is about to hit after a few delays that definitely pissed off the community. Again, people are absolutely going out of their mind at playing this brand new DLC. It's definitely got potential. Let's hope it really lives up to what the trailer promises. It's going to be definitely a different game mode, a different way of playing it, being underground most of the time. It's going to change things, not being able to use flyers. It really is going to be something unique. Who knows if it's going to be actually good. I really does hope it got more staying power than Scorched Earth. We will only find out in the next few days when it fully launches. The trailer for Aberration is currently the 3rd most popular trailer on the Ark Survival Evolved YouTube channel. It's got 2.5 or more million views. That is a crazy amount of views for a DLC trailer. It just again subverts what we know about Ark Survival Evolved. It turns on its head what we expect and what we're going to see. Let's really hope it lives up to the hype. So what's better than paid DLC? Free DLC. Ragnarok epitomised everything that Ark and Wildcard had wanted to do for a while. They started off the program of sponsored mods on the centre map and with Primitive Plus. Now they were two kind of experiments in how they wanted to go forward in the future. They then launched the sponsored mod program where Ragnarok came from. It was one of the more accomplished mods that are in the actual program, and they made a decision to make it an official sponsored mod. In the future, Ark and Wildcard plan to make many more official sponsored mods. It's just about getting the time to develop it and pull it over to console, and that's why it is number 3. No other game company I can think of has actually thought about putting mods in the hands of consoles. Now it wasn't originally how we thought when it got first sort of rumoured or launched, and this was before Skyrim actually came out with mods on Xbox or the PS4. We imagined it would be something like that system where you could just download whatever you mod you wanted from PC. It hasn't lived up to that hype. It does take a lot more than that. They have to port the actual mods completely and make sure there's no infringing copyright. It's a lot more harder to do on console, but the fact they are even trying is absolutely amazing. It's popular to jump on the bandwagon that Ragnarok is one of the best maps and the prettiest map, but you know what? Nothing for me replaces that joy, that excitement of exploring the centre. I'd only been playing Ark a little while, I'd only been playing it 6 months, and then the centre map came out and it was like, whoa, this is amazing. This is what the directions you could go with Ark. It doesn't have to be just a linear sort of island with a few biomes. You could be fantastical. You could really go out there and have floating islands, huge massive statues. The centre is definitely one of my favourite maps. I absolutely love the way it's just got so many different features to it, and it's in a manageable size. It's not too big. There's loads of secrets to be had. There's so many caves. One of the biggest things for me about the centre was the caves weren't just these dank, horrible little corridors. They were wondrous places with ruins, fantastical features, and that's why mods like these are absolutely the things that make people happiest. If we can get more of these mods on console, Whatever way they do it, if they call it the DLC, the free DLC, sponsored mods, whatever they do, please Wildcard, give us more, but not just maps. Let us have echo mods, let us have the big wide range. You can do it, Wildcard. Outsource it to another developer, do what you got to do to get these mods ported over to console, and I guarantee the player base on console will stay with you even longer than they currently have. And FYI, did you know that Ben Burkhart, the creator of the Centre map, is actually one of the lead map makers for Aberration? He's been hard at work, he was employed by Wildcard. After the success of the Centre, he's one of the main guys on Aberration, so I can't wait. And I'm not forgetting about Prim Plus. It didn't live up to the hype only because Wildcard actually again employed the mod creator Said, gave him a job helping fix and finish up the main game. So let's hope Said can get back to it, because when Prim Plus got announced, again it was a really exciting way to play the game. For many people that didn't like the way some of the technological ways were coming into ARK, they really felt this stripped back way of playing this game was going to be perfect and should have been the ultimate setting for ARK Survival Evolved. The hype around it was amazing. It was a bit of a letdown though, because it just couldn't get the love it required and needed. So, if you didn't know, Said is back on it right now. He's been working away for the last 3 or 4 weeks back on Primitive Plus. So let's hope we really see some of these main improvements that it needs. And of course being developed even further into the vision that he already had. Did you know that Survival Plus has taken lots and lots of heavy iteration from Primitive Plus? Primitive Plus was the first mod, as far as I know, to think about roles, that they would have special abilities or even almost buffs for certain players the way that you played. So let's hope Said really gets to finish off his vision, because there's no doubt about it, Primitive Plus alongside the Centre, alongside Ragnarok, they've been some of the most hyped up things people have been looking forward to. So let's make sure they're always supported. Number 2, of course, is the actual announcements that ARK Survival Evolved wouldn't just be coming to PC. I can't stress how much of a game changer this was. No one had really done early access that well yet. Xbox had the program up and running. They'd had a few games on it like Eve and certain sort of games like Long Dark, but they hadn't really had this big massive experience, and it came within 6 months of PC launch to Xbox One. It was really what drew my attention to ARK. I've seen many games on PC that I've liked the look of. I've never been tempted to buy them because I knew they would never come to console. But when I saw that this was actually going to be on Xbox One and it was coming, the hype got massive. I made sure I was one of the first to get some actual gameplay footage of it, and that's where it took off for me on ARK. I knew it was coming to Xbox. I got excited for it at Christmas time when it released, and it just went from strength to strength for me, and of course for the consoles. Remember, no one had done this on this scale. No one had this massive multiplayer experience that had just sold millions on PC already, and it was promised for PlayStation 2. Now, PlayStation did have to wait a little bit longer, and it was a bit mixed up and convoluted exactly how it was all going to process. We were told that actually SOTF was going to be coming before the Survival Evolved experience on PS4, and that was definitely a mistake, and it didn't even happen in the end. The hype around it coming to PS4 was another level. I thought it was big when it came to Xbox, but my channel absolutely exploded, and I pretty much have everything I need to, thank for actual my channel doing well is the release of PlayStation. I was one of the first to do a Let's Play on it. It's got over 300,000 views. It's one of my first videos to go that big, that mega, that turbo, and I can't thank it enough. You PS4 players were desperate for information. I kept you up to date with everything that was going on, the delays, the cancellations, what would be happening, how you would access stuff, and you guys repaid that. You supported me throughout them Let's Plays and for the last year. So it was definitely one of the biggest hyped and one of the happiest times for me and for the PlayStation players who had experienced delays. They could finally get their hands on the game that everyone else had been playing, and you didn't disappoint. The player actual base on PlayStation is currently bigger than Xbox One and the actual PC versions. That's how hyped, that's how much people were dying to play this game. Well done Wildcard for somehow getting around Sony's strict no early access policies. It was a bit dodgy, it was a bit worrisome how they done that, but it was here. We had the game in your hands, you had the game to play, and I'm thankful that we got a chance to do it and didn't have to wait another 8 months for the game to officially come out. And for any PC players wondering why I'm giving all the love to this console, you think on. The optimization that went into these console versions also helped massively with the optimization for PC. It's a nice little circle that we all share together. Whatever platform you play it on, there's no doubt about it, ARK brought communities together like no other game I've ever seen, and hopefully they can continue that with the crossplay plans they have in place for PC and Xbox. So there's the top 4 reasons Ark Survival Evolved made you happy. What is number 1? Before we get to that, let's have some notable exceptions. There's no doubt about it, when Primal Survival got announced, people were hyped. I wasn't that interested, but the hype grew for me, and the same goes with SOTF. That was even going to be a game changer, that would be coming out to Xbox and PS4 in the future, one day maybe. Unfortunately, both of them projects did get cancelled or delayed indefinitely, and there's no hope of them two coming back as of current today. I also think that adding the boss fights and the end game, particularly the end game sequence, was a game changer for Ark Survival Evolved, and it definitely made a lot more people happy who had worried there wasn't enough end game content. While it still needs some work, and lots of Ark does definitely need a little bit extra, definitely something that people were hyped and excited to play, and in fact my actual Ascension video is my most popular video on my channel. That shows how popular it was for you guys as well. So let's hope they continue with the story for Aberration and the final DLC in spring 2018 that will wrap up the Ark story. So enough, let's do it. Let's reveal exactly what it was that made you happy, and it's been very generalistic. I couldn't pinpoint 5 little small things in the development of Ark Survival Evolved, but for me and for you guys on the Twitter poll that I put out yesterday, the number 1 thing was the updates. Every month getting a new exciting update that added something, features, some new dinosaurs. Now while some of us were a bit aggrieved that they weren't fixing things and we just seemed to be getting this new content coming in and that it wasn't resolving any of the problems and issues, no doubt about it, each update brought even more hype, even more happiness at seeing your favourite dinosaur, your favourite creature, a brand new mechanic, a brand new item that you've been asking for. Take all the criticism aside from wildcards, and look how much they have taken on board the actual feedback from people. They're not always best at communicating back sometimes, but no other game I can think of has implemented so many features recommended by the community. You go through the list of things that the community have recommended and then look at the updates that have come through after that. Each and every time, lots of them features have come directly from the community's feedback. So it's definitely the updates. Each one would get exciting. I'd be hyped about it. I'd give you guys the news updates about it, the trailers, the little spotlights. They'd all be really well put, and I can't think of an actual game that has made better use of this development time. This might not be something that exciting if they'd kept all of this indoors, if they'd only released a couple trailers every sort of 6 months and just done a little blog post. It certainly wouldn't have lived up to it, but each one of these spotlights was fantastically made, and hats off to Chris, the actual producer that helped make most of these actual trailer spotlights. Big shout out to him and his team, because they did do a fantastic job. It really made you believe in what the dinosaurs are going to do, what the update had inside it, and it just got everyone happy and hyped about the game, and it kept people's interest, and that's what you need in early access. You need to keep people's interest, and so many developers now are copying Ark. Wildcard have done a lot for development for other games. They've seen some of the mistakes they've made, but they've also seen many of the successes that Wildcard have done, and have taken that on board with their own games. Games like Conan, games like The Long Dark, even smaller games like We Happy Few, they've all benefited from Ark Survival Evolved's plans during early access and the way that they marketed the game. Sometimes the updates didn't always live up to what we thought, and sometimes, more often than not, they broke a lot of shit. But there's no doubt about it, each update made everyone happy about what was coming into the game in some way, shape or form, whether it was a dinosaur, whether it was an item, whether it was bug fixes. No doubt about it, this method of drip feeding people each month with new content is definitely the way to go if you've got an early access game going. So there you go, there's my top 5, a little bit out there, maybe not as detailed as you might have thought, but I was looking at the big whole picture of development of Ark Survival Evolved over the last 2 years. You give me your top 5 happy reasons. No negativity, let's keep this one nice and happy, because you know what, no other game, even if you're grumpy and upset with it, I bet have you played more than Ark Survival Evolved in the last 2 years. And if you're still grumpy and you're still pissed off about it, it's because you care about the game, because the game has give you so many happy moments. So let me know in the comment section exactly what them happy moments were. I am Jade Plays Games. I will be back with more top 5 videos. I like doing these over Christmas. Next one's going to be top 5 most controversial times Ark Survival Evolved has faced. I'm Jade Plays Games. I'll see you ratbags very soon.